search for the identity of the entity referred to as A.J. Hartwell. You'll search for the identity of the entity referred to as A.J. Hartwell.
May I have this?
You'll relate a significant past life incarnation for this entity where this one built permanent understandings in prosperity and abundance.
It is important to notate that there are many lifetimes that this one is resonating with, in which there is a tremendous amount of prosperity that is experienced by this one. And often the prosperity and abundance is created through internal changes as well as choices in the physical. There's also lifetimes in which this one has been born wealthy. However, the ones that this one needs to focus the intention and the attention on is more the ones that are where this one has built prosperity and abundance. We see there is two particular lifetimes that are significant. One lifetime is in Greece. This is in the 1400s, 1411. This one is in male form. We see that this one lives in a tribe, and this one lives in a village, and we see that within the village there is a lot of wealth already. There is a lusciousness of food, and there's a lot of growth. We see when this one is 10 years of age, there is an attack on the village, and it gets pillaged, and there's a lot that everyone loses. What occurs after that is that many become disheartened and disconnected. And we see this one is one of the people that at first also feels disheartened. However, feels the sense of inner drive to transform the village's experiences. And because of that, he ends up bringing a group of people together to rebuild. And even though he is very young, by the time he does this, he is 11 years of age. At first, the villagers and the leaders within the village are not as interested in his abilities. However, as he has to say, and however, as he stays very committed to the ideas and the vision that he does hold, they do begin to listen and experience a sense of rigor and a sense of commitment towards making changes. And in that particular lifetime, what is very significant is that this one was an agent of change. This one activated change for himself and for others. We see this is a big key to this one's prosperity and abundance in any lifetime, is when he activates change inside of himself and activates towards change for others, he often experiences prosperity and abundance. There's another lifetime that's also important in the 1700s, 1711. This one is once again in male form. This is in Dublin, and we see that this one is a blacksmith. This one also learns how to be a blacksmith. He also learns how to work on ships and even build ships. Therefore, he does a lot with his hands. We see that he often sees the people that get on the ships and has this type of longing for where they are going and what they are experiencing. And however, he doesn't have the money to actually go on these ships until he gets very, one day he gets very sad that his life is confined to the workshop that he is in, being a blacksmith, as well as working on parts for the ships that he cannot actually travel on. And as he goes through this very deep, dark veil, there's a quiet voice that says to him, there is a way, there is a way. And therefore this one becomes aware that there is a way, becomes curious about what that way is, and begins to talk to one of the owners as well as one of the captains of the ship, and expresses his desire. And we see that at that point he is given an opportunity to join the crew as someone that would fix anything that was going wrong with the ship. And this then puts him on an opportunity to go on a voyage. We see this one is able to travel to Spain, and then to Ireland, then to France, and eventually to England. And we see when he arrives in England, he begins to interact with wealthy men. He begins to see their life and their lifestyles, something that he hadn't himself experienced, and gets to know them, gets to understand what their life is like and what they are doing, and finds ways to be useful to them. He creates tools, it creates ways that he can get in touch with them, get interacted with them, and interact with them. And we see at this point there's an opportunity to travel to the Americas, to North America specifically, and we see that he takes the opportunity. We see this becomes a very long and challenging voyage. He recognizes that he might never see his family again now that he's leaving the continent. However, he also has a lot of hope that it is where he needs to be. And we see that this one arrives in Virginia. He is penniless, however, he is skillful and has many skills. And he notices right away that there are a lot of skills that he has that many do not have. And he begins to teach those skills. He begins to develop the tools that are necessary. There were wagons that were not working properly, that he was able to upgrade their wheels so that they would move quicker and were more stable. We see that he created tools for farmers because he was a blacksmith. And as he created these different efficiencies, he often gained more notoriety, more income. However, what his main focus was to help the people that didn't have skills. And therefore he created workshops where he taught his skills to others for free. And because they found so much growth and so much opportunity in that, they often, as they made money, they often would give him money and they would offer him things. Eventually he had enough money to buy a plot of land, and we see at that point is where he began to grow his own food and was able to really experience true prosperity in the actual farming experience versus what he had done before, working with his hands, being one with nature. And from that point he saw that those individuals that would come from Europe to the Americas that didn't have a place to go, he would create a place for them on his land, and eventually was able to obtain more and more land. He never engaged in slavery. He just would have enough people living there to work on the land and to live off the land. He found a lot of freedom in that. And we see that he also was able to have some of his family members come over from Dublin to North America, to Virginia. We see that in that lifetime he did not marry. He had a really strong connection with a lot of different women. However, he found the work that he was doing to be fulfilling enough for him, and therefore that is what he focused on. We see that this one did withdraw at the age of 87 due to a natural decline of the physical body, and this one very easily withdrew in the middle of the night in his sleep in a very deep, restful, and peaceful state. In that lifetime, he very much was able to fulfill his destiny, and he understood prosperity as the capacity to create prosperity and abundance for the self as well as for others. And as he did so, he was able to create a lot for others as well as for himself, and also he was able to fulfill himself and experience connection and contentment. This is all.
What permanent understandings were built by this one?
This one developed trust, commitment, connection, steadfastness, zeal, inspiration, passion, generosity, discipline, and devotion. This is all.
Very well. What is the significance of that lifetime to the present lifetime that can aid this one to create greater prosperity and abundance?
We see in this lifetime very similarly, there is a desire in this one to live an immensely envisioned life, in that he is here to live his life. He is here to live in alignment with his own visions. He is not designed to fit into a box or to follow someone else's ideas and visions. And in this way, he is very much an entrepreneur at heart and will strive in entrepreneurship mostly. We see, therefore, what is activating for greater prosperity and abundance for this one in this lifetime is to really think about what others need and to then create the solutions to their needs, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. And the more that he can think about his own internal tools as well as his physical tools, and creating those tools for others to strive, to become happier, to become more fulfilled, to be more connected, then this is the pathway to greater prosperity and abundance for this one. There is also a scatteredness that this one has had up to this point, where there are many ideas, many focuses, and many interests. And this does not provide for a concentrated effort towards great prosperity and abundance. It would be beneficial for this one to hone in on 2 to 3 offerings or 2 to 3 activities that he wants to develop and master, so that he can then focus his energy, focus his attention, and bring forth a greater level of prosperity and abundance. We see that it would benefit this one to really contemplate what it means to be prosperous and what it means to be abundant. The capacity to be prosperous has to do with the ability to give and receive of one's understandings and continue to grow from that. The capacity to be abundant is the awareness that there's an infinite supply of energy, infinite supply of intelligence, infinite supply of manifestation. And abundance is the capacity to tap into that infinite supply, and not only to tap into it, but however, it is the capacity to receive it. Therefore, the more that this one can receive, the more that this one can experience a higher regard, higher level of freedom, love, connection, and fulfillment. We see this one is very good at giving. However, when it comes to receiving, it is a little bit more challenging. Therefore, this one's focus needs to be in emptying and completely receiving love, completely receiving connection, completely receiving himself. The more that he does this, the more prosperity he can experience. We do see that one ayahuasca ceremony that is focused on prosperity can also allow him to release a lot of resistance that he has to prosperity. This resistance is ancestral, and it is connected to guilt, in that there's an underlying belief that if there is a lot of prosperity and abundance, that within that there can be a level of what could be described as guilt. There could be a level of what can be described as not being able to be still centered in himself, that there's a part of himself that he would let go of. However, the truth is that the more prosperity and abundance that this one receives, the more that he can help others. And therefore, studying Solomon in the Bible and aligning with the consciousness of Solomon can help him to manifest his ideals. It is also important for this one to think about why he wants to be prosperous. What are the deeper reasons for prosperity? And what are the steps, actions that this one can take on a daily basis to be able to experience that level of prosperity on it every day? One of them is paying attention to where he is draining his energy, where he is wasting his attention, and being more mindful with where his attention is, for how long, and for what reason. As he really shores up his energy, he will be able to direct that fount of energy towards receiving money. And we see that it would also be helpful for this one to investigate his relationship with money, to really understand, how does he feel about money? How does he feel about receiving money? How does he feel about giving money away? All of those things would help him. Studying the book Seed, Money in Action can also help him to activate the thought form of and the consciousness of prosperity on all levels, on all layers. This is all.
Considering this one's recent training in Facebook ads, what type of service or product could this one promote that aligns with his skills and interests and is likely to generate the largest sustainable passive income and have the best results? What action should this one take with this to gain the most growth and understanding?
We see that in many ways there are many different services that he can provide. However, what is most aligned is his understanding of the consciousness of the planet and the effect that the planet has on the consciousness of individuals, and how to maintain connection, how to maintain inner alignment and forward motion in the face of challenges in everyday life. Therefore, this one can utilize Facebook ads to advertise himself as a spiritual coach or as a spiritual advisor. We see this one can also utilize Facebook ads to sell actual goods. And both of these can be beneficial, and in many ways doing both would be helpful, so that he has a way to, in some ways, diversify his ways that he can receive income and also find fulfillment in the things that he is selling, especially things that he can sell from Hawaii that would not be easily procured in the connected United States. And this is a way for income as well. We see this one also can consider art as a form of selling art through Facebook ads. This is all. We see what's being given is what is important in terms of opening up the channels of prosperity and abundance is believing in what this one is selling, and really creating a clear internal image of it, and trusting himself and recognizing and becoming aware of what the needs are. There are many needs at the present time, and a lot of the needs have to do with understanding, inner stability, emotional alchemy, and fulfillment, as well as happiness. This is all.
What are effective strategies for aligning this one's career with his dharma and purpose, focusing on generating passive income that allows for time flexibility and personal pursuits? How can this one best act and take actions towards his dharma, purpose, and career so that he may have time freedom to rest or pursue whatever else he feels called to do during the day?
What this one is desiring is space. The reason that this one wants the space is because this one recognizes that there is a lot of room for growth, for fulfillment, for evolution, when there is that level of spaciousness. And this one recognizes that he is where his attention is. And therefore, he wants to have his attention be on growth, on fulfillment, on evolution, on connection, on forward motion, on supporting the planet in its evolution. And we see what is very clear is what would be helpful is to consider partnering or being part of a group of people that own land, that are working on the land and developing the land. This is the best way, and if this one can invest in the land, this would be one of the best ways that this one could receive passive income while enjoying spiritual community and growth, and most importantly, creating a physical place that individuals can come to heal, to evolve, to connect, to experience freedom, to experience evolution. This is one way. The other way is in considering opportunities in speaking engagements, where this one develops his speaking skills and speaks for large groups of people. This one is highly able to do this. This one is charismatic. This one is connected. And this could be a skill set that if he develops, could produce and generate a lot of income, and can then turn into passive income through selling audiobooks and audiobooks and other forms of electronic media. The third is in and through art. We see dedicating time and energy to this, however, would be what is most beneficial in producing the passive income that he is seeking. What is important in terms of passive income is to still think about what is his desire, what is it that he wants to give to the world, and what is it that the world needs. This would generate the highest amount of passive income as he realizes the need and then fulfills it. This is all.
In this one's professional endeavors, would using the name AJ Hartwell enhance his connection to his audience, or should this one consider a different pseudonym for better engagement and authenticity, as well as with this name help him to take the best actions while cultivating growth and understanding? Should this one be using this name when promoting his products, services, and creations, or should he use a different name, title, perhaps, for the best results?
We see that the name AJ Hartwell is very much aligned because it aligns with his vibrational field and how he is vibrating, how he is moving in the world. We see that the letter A especially is very activating, and it comes up first in the alphabet, and therefore is often comes up first in searches as well. Well, however, what is most important is that it vibrates in alignment to him, and this provides him an opportunity to really share his consciousness with others. What can help in terms of his brand is to have a very similar color scheme that he's consistently using, and a symbol and a logo that he consistently uses. And we do see that part of this one's brand is connected to men's work and aiding vulnerability in men, supporting men in sharing their divine masculine energy and supporting that level of divine masculine connection and energy in self and others. This would be an area that this one can consider as well. This is all.
What are the best foods for this one that this one should be eating, and how can this one best cleanse and detox? What are holistic approaches to gaining more energy and motivation for physical activities, especially in nature, that do not rely on stimulants like caffeine?
We see for this one a ketobiotic diet, meaning not just ketogenics, however, protein as well as low glycemic content food, high amounts of vegetables and green vegetables such as kale, spinach. These would be very helpful. Having bone broth with his food, as well as ensuring that he does not eat past 6 p.m. and ensuring that this one goes 14 to 15 hours every day without eating, ideally from dinner to breakfast, would be very helpful, getting him into ketosis. The more that he can burn ketones, the more that he will actually detoxify the brain, which will release any type of brain fog and will also give him natural energy. We do see that in terms of caffeine, as this one does not utilize caffeine, there will be a natural balance in his body where he will be able to have energy that is derived from burning fat. And therefore, the more fat he burns in his body, the more energy he will have. We see this one can keep it very simple. Daily walks in nature, moving his body, qigong or tai chi, so he can get into the subtle energy, subtle body. Releasing tension from the subtle body will give him energy. And we see that getting very clear about his purpose in life, in not necessarily what he's doing in the world, but what is his purpose, meaning what is it that he wants to learn or gain or develop within himself. As he focuses his energy, his consciousness, his attention on that, he will have natural energy. It is also in connection to receiving his anger. When this one is very angry, this one tends to suppress it. And this then gets in the way of him really having energy because he's putting a lot of his energy in suppressing the anger. Therefore, in the moments of anger, having time to consciously express his anger and even get to the grief underneath that will then help him to experience relief, and from that relief he will have excess energy to utilize. This is all.
How can this one best act towards inspiring his mother to go to rehab? She has been addicted to drugs, and this one wants to grow and understand how to help and support her the best, in that he can motivate her to live a healthy, happy life. What approach can this one take to inspire and support his mother towards rehabilitation and a healthier lifestyle, considering her struggles with addiction?
We see that it is important for this one to start from the beginning, which is he has chosen his mother to understand surrender, acceptance, and release. And we see that although this one is very close to his mother, this one loves his mother and is connected to her, this one and her journey are different from each other. And this is the greatest challenge for this one, is that he wants to live her journey because he recognizes that there are ways that she can be better, or she can feel better, and that her suffering in fact affects his suffering. Recognizing that he is suffering by her suffering is a good first step, and recognizing that this is part of the experience that he has chosen in this lifetime. It is important for him to remember that every individual has their own inner guidance, their own inner light, and their own pathway to choose. And especially with the addiction that she is experiencing, this one, the one of the mother, has to come to a completion point with it. And until she does, she will continue to have similar experiences. What this one can do is to be very clear with her that he cannot interact and enable the behavior, the addiction. And the more that he can ensure that he does not enable the addiction in any way and does not do anything for her that she can't do for herself, this would be very helpful. It would also help him to study the book Love First, which can give him some specific steps for intervention so that she can actually choose rehab. However, the greatest way that she would choose rehab, if for this one to know that removing himself and telling her that if she is not to choose the rehab, he might not be able to interact with her, this might be the greatest motivation. We do see that the utilization of plant medicine can also be beneficial for her. However, this one, once again, has to be ready to heal and ready to let go of her addiction. The addiction is very much part of her identity, and she is afraid of letting go of that identity, even though it plagues her. And this is not his journey. This is her journey. And the more that he can accept that she is a soul on a spiritual journey, the more that he can find a bit more peace. That at the end of it all, there is a great light that is waiting for her. And this one is not sure, this one does not know what good is there that is awaiting her. And therefore, trusting that her suffering has an end, has a beginning, and it does have an end. And as he can do this and really settle into this, he will be free. As this addiction is also, he has an addiction to her addiction. And it is a cycle that is affecting his brain and his own mental, emotional, physical health. It is important for him to prioritize his own mental, emotional, physical health above hers at this time. This is all.
How can this one find a balance between meeting his own needs and effectively supporting others, such as his mother, partner, and friends, without compromising his own well-being and life goals?
We see him recognizing a hierarchy where this one, it's God, self, partner, and then others. And therefore putting God or divinity first, then putting himself second, and then putting his relationship with his partner third. In that level of priority, it can help him to know where to put his energy and when he needs to release his energy from something or someone. This one has a sense of obligation, and this obligation is not helpful for him. It is important for him to put himself first, to have boundaries for himself, to care for himself, because this one will not be able to maintain or sustain if he does not do so. We do see that there are times that this one might have to sacrifice something for himself for someone else. However, that should not be the norm. And this one should consider that at this particular time in his life, prioritizing his business and his financial needs, his health needs, are very important for continual evolution and for what he is here to do in the world. We see those that are true friends and true relations will understand that he needs to prioritize. This is all.
Anything else you want to ask, AJ?
Oh, so good. Why am I here?
Why is this one here?
We see this one is here to understand the loop of suffering and pleasure and to free himself from the cycle of suffering and pleasure into the endless understanding of consciousness. This is all.
All right, anything else?
How do we help the animals?
How do we help the animals?
By creating sustainable organizations that focus on supporting the planet, healing the planet, and educating the youth in regards to the planet. It is in every individual's choice every day that the planet can either heal or deteriorate more. And recognizing that the body is also part of the planet and it feeds the planet can also be very helpful for him. This is all.
Thank you.
Anything else? Whoop.
We see that there is a guide by the name of Lu that is male. He's a very strong presence. And what he is saying to the one of AJ is, pick up your sword and direct it towards your dharma. This is all. This is all.
Okay. You feel complete, AJ?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You'll relax and be at peace.